Today, I'm going to be sharing with you how I help my client lose over 6 pounds eating more food, but by healing her gut. She came to me after being diagnosed with severe IBS. She had chronic stabbing stomach pains no matter what she ate. She went to every doctor, she tried all the things. On top of that, she had cystic acne, chronically high stress from her job, and on top of that, she was getting that perimenopause at an early age of 35, starting to store the stubborn belly fat. So no matter what she tried, she couldn't lose the weight. Today, she's going to be joining me. We're going to be going through everything that we did with her diet, training, supplements, all the challenges she faced through, and the key aspects that a lot of people miss on their gut healing and health journey. For all my women over 30, no matter if you're trying to lose weight or you have gut issues, whatever it is, this is going to be a video for you. And make sure to listen to the end because we're going to be diving into a lot of hot topics on gut health. We're going to be diving into common mistakes people make. We're going to be talking about intermittent fasting and so much more. Let's dive right into it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Can you kind of start off briefly explaining a little bit about why you came to me, your health struggles that you were facing?
It's interesting because I actually first started following you because I was watching your workout videos. I was like, here's someone who's doing some really cool workouts, working out body parts that I have never tried, trying out things that I don't normally do. Somehow one thing led to another, and I started seeing your content around gut health. So my stomach has actually been giving me issues for the last 3 years. I've always had stomach issues, like digestive issues growing up. I was like the gluten intolerant kid before it was cool to be gluten free and gluten lactose intolerant. I've always had a weaker digestive system, and it was getting worse as I was getting older. And sometime in the last 3 years, I started getting quite a severe pain, like a stabbing pain in the left side of my stomach. And I went and saw doctors for it, a dozen ultrasounds and blood tests later. No one was finding any results. They were all just saying you're perfectly healthy. It must be your IBS manifesting symptoms in a different way. And I was like, well, thanks, that doesn't actually solve any issues for me. And at one point I even got prescribed like a stomach acid suppressant because they were saying, oh, well, maybe your stomach acid is hurting you and you should have a stomach acid depressant. And I even thought to myself, that's very contradictory because I know I have a weak digestive system. Like I'm hooked on probiotics and I'm hooked on digestive enzymes because I always have issues digesting food, to the point where I often get food poisoned just eating food that my body doesn't like, or even just food that's too heavy. So if I enjoy food that's just heavier that day, my body actually gives up on me and I straight up just get food poisoned. When you start talking about your gut health and started talking about your journey, I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, this person's literally going through a lot of things I went through, and kind of even the exploring your own journey through health, because I did that too. And so at some point I decided, you know what, like maybe I should reach out. And it's hesitant, like in the world of the internet, you never really know um who's legit, who's
Yeah.
not. And but I felt very, very connected to you. There was something that, like, my gut my gut was literally telling me. I was like, you should reach out to Elizabeth. It was funny. I think like I even connected because I think you said you did DDR for exercise at one point. I was like, I totally did that. I was like the teenager who DDR'd my weight and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Reach out. What's the worst that could happen? And through that we ended up going through our program together, and I guess now we're here.
No, I love it. So a little bit before, so what are, I guess, some of the specific health challenges that you're facing? I know we had a lot of stomach pain going on. I know also you had cystic acne when we were growing up. Can you kind of share a little bit more about those symptoms and kind of health things that we were having, those underlying issues?
Yeah, so I dealt with, as you said, I dealt with cystic acne growing up, all through my teenage years, and I actually dealt with adult acne as well. So, when they said, I remember hitting my 20s, and then like, when they tell you only get acne when you're a teenager, they lied. And like dealt with quite inflammatory cystic acne as an adult. Like I said, I was always hyper sensitive about what I put in my body. I think, I was always kind of afraid of gluten, always afraid of lactose. And at some point I started becoming afraid of everything, because what happened was when my stomach pain started 3 years ago, even when I went back to my quote unquote, like healthy meals. Let's say I had, a fun weekend and then I tried to go back to what I thought were safe foods. Eating the safe foods still hurt me. So I was just basically in pain all the time. So I would dread eating. I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat and then I'm going to be in pain. Like that's just the life I'm going to live. I started naturalizing like a habit of mine where I would constantly be kind of pressing and massaging my stomach when I'm eating under the table or when I'm going out to eat, because I didn't want to show people that I was in pain, or I didn't want to come off as super high maintenance. On top of all of that, like I was struggling with weight gain. I would say somewhere in the last 5 years, I think sometime after 2019, I felt like the things I was doing with my life weren't working anymore. I work out a lot. I eat pretty clean. I track my nutrition. I track my macros. And I'm like, this is not working. Like the habits that I had 5 years ago isn't working. And it was very frustrating when you not only like when you take a cheat day, you just feel horrible. Like I just felt like the guiltiest person ever, because I'm like, I'm gonna take this cheat day and it's gonna show up on my body. There's no way out of this. And then when you even try really hard, you're not getting the results you want. You're like, why am I even trying? Like maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should just live my like I don't know, my like rotund unhealthy life and just live my life. Like I didn't know anymore, right? And it's really frustrating because I've always been obsessed with diet culture. I think it's just like an unfortunate thing that happens to a lot of women, the pressures that we put on ourselves. And when you feel like you've gone through like a whole journey and you thought you figured out the answer, and all of a sudden you don't have the answer again, you're like, oh my God, I can't go on like this.
I know that feeling too. Like when you're massaging your belly, it's because you literally feel like when you have gut issues, you feel like there's a bubble in there, like an air bubble that wants to pop. And like, it's an uncomfortable feeling. So, with all of these different symptoms you had going on, I know we had fatigue going on, we had all these gut issues going on. How are they impacting your life?
I mean, a lot. One of the things I do outside of my day job is I'm a wine writer and I do wine media and I do a lot of food and drink and I do a lot of hospitality related stuff. And I'm a foodie. So to be a foodie and to be like unable to eat all the time is pretty terrible. I would say I do a lot of like travel and I do a lot of climate meetings. So I used to do a lot of events. And when you're constantly watching everything you're doing and you're trying not to be difficult to people, like I people should be able to state what their allergies are and everything, but it really sucks when you have to go into a really nice restaurant, when like maybe a French restaurant that is, the food is what they serve and that's part of the experience, and you're like, I know the food what you serve is amazing, but like can you not put dairy in my thing please, and can you not change the crack, like it just ruins the whole experience. So that's not something I liked doing. I work a lot. I'm currently the CEO of a small business. And like I said, I do this wine writing stuff and then I work on my music. I work 16 to 18 hours a day. And for me, when you work as hard as you do, when you're as high stress as you are, everything needs to line up perfectly. And if they don't line up perfectly, it all derails, right? Because
Yeah.
like I said, my weak digestive system would be exacerbated by lack of sleep. It would be exacerbated by stress.
Mhm.
And it's like, if these aren't perfect, and for me, I always thought if I could control the nutrition, it could at least mitigate my stress and mitigate my lack of sleep. Like it was kind of chicken and egging the thing a little bit.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. I'm glad that you actually brought that up because so many people think we have these different gut issues. We can just go online, Google what that symptom is, and take a supplement or kombucha or a probiotic for that. And then we try it and we feel worse. I mean, I remember going and spending hundreds of dollars on all these different supplements and probiotics and top ones. And this is, time release capsule. And then I would feel so much worse, spent all this money. And when it really comes down to it, it's not just about what you're eating, it's about the stress, the sleep, food sensitivities. If we have pathogens, it's more than just taking a supplement. And like you were eating healthy, you were trying all the things, and I would love to hear more about what you did try, but you still had all that stomach pain. You still couldn't lose the weight. We had to work on the other things, the stress, the sleep, and fitting this with your busy lifestyle that you had.
I think I like resisted that part of of your coaching to the max. I think I was like, I can do the nutrition, like I can change my macros. But you're telling me I need to turn off my computer at a certain time? No, Elizabeth, no. And but I appreciate that because I think we often forget the holistic element of our health and how they do all tie into each other. And I think in some ways we sort of know that, but because it doesn't always necessarily have like a plus B equals
Mhm.
C formula, it's a thing that happens over a long period of time. You might not see the results right away unless you're extremely self-aware. You just think, no, like it's easy, right? Like it's easy to have a pill. It's easy to take something and visibly see it. But when you're like, I'm going to experience life differently if I turn off my screen or if I do blue light blocking glasses, like that's a thing. No way. And that's something you really helped push me towards doing. And it's all for the better. I think one thing that was really useful for me is you helped frame it in a way that makes sense to
Mhm.
me in order for me to implement it, in order for me to buy in. So I remember one example you said to me was, if someone was on a heart medication and they said they need to take it at exactly this time of day, would they just be like, no? And they're like, no, you have to take it. You have to take it at the same time every single day if you know where to see the effects. And you sort of said the same thing for sleep or for blocking blue light. You're like, you need to treat it like medicine. You need to do this because if you do it consistently every single day, that's how you have your success and that's why you have your longevity and that's how you have your health. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do my best to like frame my mindset around this. So it's like changing the mindset in
Yeah.
order for me to implement the tool. Cause I think it's that whole thing. You can lead a horse to water and the horse doesn't drink,
Mhm.
like can't, right? So you led the horse to water and then you were like, convince the horse, you're like, this water is good for you and change the mindset.
Yeah, and like a big thing is like we have to understand that everybody is different. Like you have a crazy lifestyle, you have different things going on. So what works for one person doesn't for others. So like in the beginning, we started off with your diet. And as I kind of kept explaining to you each week when we're checking in and going our struggles with the sleep and the stress and feeling fatigued because we weren't getting there and having flare ups if we did not get the sleep in, I tried to kind of break it down in different ways for you and see what actually got you to a place where you're able to start working on the sleep and then you started seeing the difference from that. So it's just about finding what works best for the individual. And I think that's like a very missing thing now because people think what works for one person, if you say go get sleep, just go get sleep. No, you have to fit it with the life. You have to make it fit your lifestyle. If it feels overwhelming to the person, they're not going to implement it. It's like a diet. A diet shouldn't be scary and feel overwhelming where you have to do hours of meal prep and make all these crazy recipes. Eating out at restaurants, how that takes over your life when you have gut issues. It shouldn't be so scary. It's about having small tools so it's not overwhelming and it's something realistic for the individual so that you could stick with it and then actually see results.
Yeah, for sure. I think like that was one of the best things about the program is the way you really worked with me around my lifestyle. Cause like I said, like I travel and I said, like, Elizabeth, I work in wine. I'm not gonna stop drinking wine. We're gonna have to find a way to balance that out. And like I
And
enjoy
heal
my
the
wine.
gut and
Yeah,
lose
yeah.
the weight and get the sleep and give us weight.
Not
I'm
a
not a
challenge at
magician
all.
over here.
Yeah, but like
We
you
did.
did, right? Like it was
Mhm.
about kind of managing. It's like, okay, if you have a day like this, well, if you're gonna go and eat out, let's look at the options that maybe are going to be less inflammatory for your gut or better, like higher in protein as opposed to eating like a big starchy dish at first. And it's interesting because like I know a lot of that, but at the same time it's good to get a reminder on it. And even just on the truth is that it made me become a little more conscientious of the way I drank as well, right? Like when you're young, you can kind of have like maybe a little like 2 or 3 drinks and be like fine the next day, or you're like, your body will burn it off. But the truth of the matter is that in my mid 30s, my body isn't doing that. And even just getting a reminder that's like, look, Maroki, when you drink this much wine, or if you have a baller night, look at how it shows up as macros. Like, look at those empty calories show up. Do you actually want to do that to yourself? And it even, like I'm not giving up drinking anytime soon, but it really helped me re examine my relationship with the food I put in my body and the alcohol I put in my body and make more conscientious choices
Yeah.
when I choose to do that, when I choose to indulge. And I think that that's actually what has also helped in my health journey.
Do you feel like that's made a huge difference in almost overcoming like fear around food and diet culture and feeling like we have to be this certain number on the scale and everything? Because I know that does impact us, especially us women with all these social media and everything. And then when we got the gut issues, we get even more dialed into how we feel on a daily basis with our stomach too.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So I remember at one point went to myself, I think I've gone about 3 weeks without being in pain.
Yeah.
And it was like a strange phenomena to me because I think like almost sometimes when I was finished eating, I intuitively wanted to like pat my stomach and I was like, I don't need to because I'm not actually in pain. And there were times where maybe like I overindulged and I would feel full, like I feel very full and round. I'm like, I feel full. It hurts to feel full. And I'm like, but I don't feel pain. Like it's like not that kind of pain. And I remember even getting on a call with you once and saying, I was like, I think I'm actually not bloated, Elizabeth. Like it's a weird thing. Like I don't understand looking at my belly and not seeing it just like protrude and be like a round little ball all the time after lunch because that's usually when it started. It was usually after my lunch was when my body started bloating and it would kind of live that way for the rest of the day. And I
Yeah.
was like, I don't have that little ball anymore. What a
Yeah. It's like
strange
the
like,
pain went away.
it was, like, crazy, like, it honestly it made me realize how long I've been kind of normalizing and learning how to live with a like, my life this way. At some point, like, by midday, you're gonna be a ball, and at some point midday, you're gonna start kind of constantly massaging yourself, and that was something that had been integrated in my routine for so long that when it vanished, it was, like, the most insane, like, mind-blowing thing ever, and now it became I was like, "I don't know, this is too good to be true, like, the other shoe's gonna
Yeah.
drop,"
I
right?
remember talking you off that. You're like, "Oh, this has happened." And then we started going mindset-wise of kind of like backwards of like, "Wait, it's gonna come back." I'm like, "Why? Why is it gonna come back? We're healing your gut. We're doing the stress. We're working on the sleep." And almost like just believing in yourself that, hey, things are gonna get better and they're gonna stay better because we're doing it in a way that's working for your body.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid of carbs anymore, like, I was pretty, like, I was always low carb. If I wasn't having an indulgy cheat day, it was always like, "No, I won't eat bread. No, I won't this. No, I won't that." When you first put those macros in, I remember looking at the amount of starches I was supposed to eat, I was like, "White rice? I don't know. Like that stuff's supposed to be evil. Potatoes, I'm not sure about those potatoes." And now, like when I get my meals and when I make my meals, I'm always like, there's so
Volume.
much food.
I
Like
know.
I'm like,
And
wow, I'm eating so much food. Like it's and you know it's like one thing I should say is like even my partner's totally bought like because he prepares the meals, he's the chef of the house, he eats the same food and he's been like, this is great. Like there's so much food. I too can eat all of this and I know it's really healthy and it's really good for me. And he's like, I love making this food. So yeah, he's actually been really into it as well, which has been wonderful.
oh, I love that. It's such a great it's so great having a support system. And I want to go a little bit more specifically into what we did with your diet, your training and nutrition. But my question for you, so you came to me, we wanted weight loss, we tried all the things, it wasn't working. We had chronic gut pain, we had constipation going on, bloating all the time, chronic stress, we weren't sleeping good. We were kind of in that fight or flight all the time. We're actually eating more food now and you're down 6 pounds. We got our gut going away. So explain to them kind of all of your symptoms, where they were, kind of what we overcame in those 12 weeks and how you're feeling now because we've been finished for almost a month now since we finished our program.
Yeah. So when I came to you, like I said, I was having a stabbing stomach pain kind of in the left side of my stomach all the time, whether I was eating my safe foods or not. Usually by after lunch, I'd be bloated and I'd kind of like always have this little like ball in my stomach and it would be kind of hard and big. I was constipated. So I've dealt with IBS my entire life. It was kind of one of those like I was never really super regular, no matter how much I tried to hack it. And that's something that I was like really, really obsessed with. I was definitely stressed. I was definitely not sleeping well. I consider myself a very, very light sleeper. Every single little bit of noise will wake me up, and I'm very, very sensitive to that. I was struggling with weight loss. Like, I know I came to you for gut health, but in sort of the back of my mind, I was really hoping that if I could resolve it, then it would hopefully make things a little bit easier for me because obviously everything I was doing was not conducive to my weight loss despite my best efforts. And I worked out a lot. Like, I did I do a lot of strength training. I do circus aerials. I do consider myself a performance athlete, and it really sucked to be someone who was athletic, but just was large. And it kind of was making me really unhappy. And I was doing a lot of hit training. I was doing a lot of hit and strength. So I know you flipped a lot of that on its head as well. So I wanted to kind of shout you out for the fact that you also did pivot some of my fitness routines and made adjustments there. And that actually has also made a difference in my life and all my results.
I'm so happy to hear that. And so since our program, are we having any stomach pain anymore? How's the food and everything fitting with your lifestyle? Have we had any flare-ups in anything? And do you feel like you're able to we're still losing weight?
Yeah, so since we finished, I'll fully admit I might have backslid a little bit, but only because I had my bachelorette party in Canada Day weekend. We had some fun times, but in some ways, like, what I liked about it was that I felt like I could make a choice and be like, this weekend I'm gonna have a great time. I might get a little like bloated, or I might gain a pound back or no next week, but I know there's a train I can get back on. Now, I think the hardest part before, like I said, is like I could have a cheat day and I'd be like, I don't even know if I can come back from this because everything I'm doing right now isn't working. So now I know I can go and enjoy myself and feel confident that I can jump right back on the bandwagon and keep the weight loss train going, because I have been losing inches. I have been getting, and like the thing is, I don't even necessarily need to be like super small because, like I said, being athletic is important to me. So I can see my muscle definition a lot more now. I can feel myself getting stronger. I can see my like body getting stronger. And that's what matters to me. And the wonderful part is like I can go away and have these fun weekends where maybe I'm eating gluten or eating cream or eating a big steak and I am not in pain. And so that's super, super important to me. It's like I am living my life and I'm enjoying it and I'm not kind of like paying the price for it on the
Yeah.
other side. And
Oh,
like that means more to me than like that's like super, super valuable to me.
that means the world to me because it's just like education is huge. So, like with you, and I'll explain a little bit more kind of what we did. So, you came to me, you were pushing it. We were pushing it. And what we realized is that as we get older, things kind of change with our body. And what used to work sometimes could, with the stress, not sleeping good, all of these other demands, low calories, we get to this place of what I call metabolic chaos. So the gut gets thrown off, the anxiety comes, the sleep goes, the stubborn belly fat, the cravings, acid reflux, all of that. And for you, also, we were on all of the antibiotics and everything for the acne. So we had definitely an imbalance of the good and bad bacteria. What we did with you specifically with your training is I wanted to dial in towards of fixing the imbalances in the body, but training smarter versus harder. We were done with your strength training workouts within, I think, 45 minutes to an hour max. And I took what you love to do, your circus and everything, and we balanced it with the strength. And we did have a few challenges. I mean, like with your schedule, we have so much going on. You're traveling like 3 to 4 days out of the week. So with you, we were trying to get a little bit of movement and with steps on the days we weren't traveling and fit the strength training in on those days as well. So that when you're having full days of travel, you don't have to worry about it. So with the training, it's not about training every day and pushing your body, especially as we get older. We really have to look at where our hormones are at, where our body's at. And by actually condensing your training, getting into less days, less time, focusing on those main compounds, and then fitting it with the movement and bringing down your HIIT and that high cortisol producing, we got the inflammation down. We were able to actually get you having your hunger and satiety cues back. We were able to increase your calories and all while dropping inches. And I think we're over 6 pounds down now, too.
Yeah, 6
We're
pounds down and, like, certainly inches off my waist, inches off my hips, and, like, those are kind of, like, the 2 main spots I really wanna focus on. Like, I can say for a fact that the clothes that I couldn't fit into before, like, I could see, like, the little squish coming out over top, like, I'm fitting into them comfortably. I think it was, like, a week or 2 ago, I was doing an engagement photo shoot, and I picked out this dress that I actually haven't put on since 2019, because I remember when I put it on in 2019, it felt a little tight, and I basically never touched it again since because I knew I'd gain weight, and I was like, I don't ever want to put this on because I don't want to put it on and feel horrible about myself. Like, I'm not going to set myself up for that failure. And for some reason, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll like squeeze my body into this and see what happens. And the zipper like did right up. And I actually did the photo shoot in that dress because I felt good in it.
You felt confident. You felt strong and sexy, didn't you?
Yeah, I really did. I really did.
Oh my God. I love that. And confidence is no one can say you make you feel good, but when you don't feel good and your confidence goes with it, it affects every part of your life. It affects your relationships. It affects, just how you feel, your anxiety. So I'm so happy that we got that. And I can't wait to see those pictures hopefully soon.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I really want to say, Elizabeth, like I honestly like probably was the difficult client that was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And I've studied a lot of this myself. I've coached other people and I've learned a lot of things. And how can this other person possibly changed the paradigm for me. Like I honestly thought that I was fully skeptical. I felt like I had learned a lot of things, and that the reason why I not really brought on any other coach in the last decade of my life is because I was like, I don't think anyone can tell me what I don't already know. Like I don't need another person being like, have you considered cutting gluten out of your diet, or have you considered this HIIT exercise, or have you considered this intermittent fasting thing, or have I was like, I'm over it. Like I know all this stuff. So but you taught me things. You really did. You taught me things that I didn't know. And I remember the first time you did that to me, I was like, "Oh, this girl, like she knows stuff. Like there's going to be things that she's going to change and she's going to be able to explain in a way to me that I understood." Cuz some other people had given me those advices before, but they never made it make sense. And so I was like, "Why would this make sense? Like you're just talking nonsense. Like you're just cookie cuttering this for me." You made it make sense. You taught me new things, and not just my nutrition, like when it comes to kind of mental health and stress and sleep, and for fitness, like all of it. You taught me stuff in all of it. And the thing is, I came to you just for my gut health, but you gave me so much more than that. So I really want to thank you for it. And I think anyone who works with you, I think you give the same amount of dedication to. And I'm so grateful I went through this with you.
Oh, thank you. You're going to make me cry because it's all I want to do is help people, and people just don't understand. Like you go to every doctor, they say you have IBS, which is really, I don't know what is going on with you. They put you on Miralax, Ducalax, or Linzess if you can't go to the bathroom, and they don't get to the root cause. And like with you, we focused on not just your calories. We focused on the stress, the sleep. We corrected the insufficiencies in your gut from taking all the antibiotics, and we added in specific things to heal the gut, because people also, they cut all the food out, they don't get to the root cause, and they continue with the stomach pain, the stomach issues the rest of their life. You can cut everything out, but if you don't get to the root cause and you don't heal the gut, you're going to add it all back in and you're going to be in square one. So it's not just about what you eat, it's about your food eating practices and the stress and all of that. And I when I had all my issues, no one addressed that. And I'm like, that is something I want my clients to heal in 12 weeks, get results fast, not need me afterwards, refer people to me, and be able to feel amazing going forward, and not be on Mr. Google and Chat GPT saying, why do I have this pain? Is this food causing me X, Y, and Z issues? What is the next intermittent fasting tool so I can lose weight, because I cannot lose it anymore and I feel like shit?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as women in our mid 30s and older, I think there's very, very little research out there and very little support to manage our health. And, if you have someone who is the real deal, can really help you, like that was you. And if the doctors weren't helping me and I was spending my own money on something, if I was going to spend my money on anything and there was a chance that I could be healed for the rest of my life, I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it. And I said to my partner before I did the program, I was like, I'm about to invest in this program. I know we're saving for our wedding. I know there's a lot of expenses. Like what? And he said, like, if this could change your life for the rest of your life, like I think you should do it. And you really did. You've changed my life for the rest of my life.
I love you so much. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to travel one day and watch you in the circus. You're not going to get me in the circus because I'm probably going to injure myself, but because I see the things you do. But one day, and with everything that we did, because I know you said you came to me for gut and I worked on other things with you, what would you say are the three biggest things that we worked on that helped you with your health issues?
Whew. I would say one was certainly like the macros and nutrition, you telling me what macros to consume and what to eat. So like you took me on kind of a bit of an elimination and reintroduced foods back in, and when certain foods triggered, we would discuss it, and you would explain to me why it wouldn't work, why it might not be working right now, and to do that and fully re-diversify my all the foods I can eat, I think was one really big thing that helped me in working together, telling me what to eat every week, what I should cut out, what I should bring back in. Um, and like trusting you that you knew what was going to trigger me and not. Two, tweaking my fitness. I think it did like make a difference because I was thinking that I had it all in hand, being a super fit athlete. I was going to do the thing, and you were like, maybe you should stop doing hits in the middle of your strength training because it's actually contradicting each other. Maybe you should focus on just the strength. And then, like, you know, at the end, doing a 15-minute hit. And even that pivoting on its head has really, really dramatically like changed and improved my fitness gains. The third one is actually even like all your supplement recommendations. I thought I knew my supplements inside and out. You know, like I said, I did some holistic nutrition stuff. I used to work in a supplement store, and the stuff you recommended to me, I honestly never even heard of a bunch of stuff for one. And I wouldn't have ever known that those were the things I needed to heal my gut. So you made those recommendations for me. It allowed, like, I could trust you with that, trust that you knew what you were doing. You explained how they each worked for me. And that saved me from having to constantly be shooting in the dark, spending money, being like, I don't know, I'll spend another couple $100 here. I'll spend another couple $100 here. You helped kind of fine tune all of that for me and took all the guesswork out.
Wow. That's big. 'Cause too, it's like people don't understand. You can't take 80 different supplements. Your liver has to actually eliminate the stuff and filter everything. You're taking all these supplements. It's like we got to dial in. Less is more with everything and finding what's right for the individual. We just need a few things and not even forever just to correct the insufficiency so we can heal the body, get the stress down, get the sleep on point, and create this, I call it another one of my little analogies. It's not that we just wake up. People think we wake up one day and then we have all these health issues. And it's not like that. It's, think of it like a little cliff. Say you're born a C-section. We're not fully getting all the probiotics. We have a diminished gut microbiome. Then stress and antibiotics and food and all trauma. And it all adds up, pushing us closer and closer to the ledge. And then we have that one thing one day. It could be a relationship ending. It could be you got COVID, whatever it is, it puts you off the ledge. And we have to do things to actually bring your health back and get you off the ledge and backwards to that place. So it's not that your health just went overnight. It's that things have been compounding over your lifetime and getting us this plate of metabolic chaos. And then we're trying to do what all the young people do in the fasting and what works for the men and all that. But we're over here with metabolic chaos. What has been happening to get us here? And people don't look at correcting these things. They're just like, we have a symptom, treat the symptom. Not, hey, what's our root cause and how can we develop a lifestyle to not only get you to lose the weight, to heal the gut, to balance the hormones, have more time with, your partner and, probably a little bit more time so you can get more work done too. Cause you're like me, we're workaholics.
Yeah, and it's how do you just maximize your health so that you can actually do all the high productivity things that you need to do? Or even just if it means just being reminded that if you take that extra hour to walk after dinner or, take like 20 mindfulness minutes to eat your food, that actually could maybe be the difference between you being in pain after you eat or being not in pain so you can work better, or having sleeping through the night. And if you're only sleeping 6 hours, I know, Elizabeth, I'm working on it, I swear.
That's actually better. We were having some bad days.
Yeah, if you're sleeping like if those hours are really good quality sleep, you're going to have a better day. And that's really important when you have a high productivity lifestyle.
Yeah. You need your creativity, you need your focus if you're not sleeping good. And then if your gut don't feel good, everything else that's your work and your clients and everything else is going to go to the back of your mind. And then your health and everything is going to be your main focus. And then it's going to run your life. And then you wake up every day with your health that doesn't feel good running your life. And then when you could get that feeling good, it's almost like, wow, like you said, the pain's gone. It's like, holy shit, what just happened? Because it's been there for so long, you don't know what it is without it. And then it's like, wow, I have more clarity. I have more creativity. I have more other things that are so positive happening. And it's like a baby being born again because it's like a whole new life.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not distracted, right? In the end our capacity is finite. So if we're constantly distracted by the pain or the exhaustion or the stress, it doesn't allow us to navigate all the things that are happening to us in your day-to-day lives. Whether it is like if I'm dealing with the stress in my stomach, I don't have time to address like a difficult client or to do really like concise logistics work because I'm too busy, like my base level is lower versus higher.
Exactly. It's not just about the macros. She came to me for more than that, babe. You knew it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got like above and beyond what I thought I was gonna get working with you, and it's sometimes when I slide off, I think of I'm like, what would Elizabeth say and do? And I still watch your videos as they come out. It's always good to get a refresher on things. Like I think the other day you were just talking about digestion when you're talking about mindfulness eating, and you're like, yeah, if you're working or if you're doing something, you see the stressful thing, all your blood's rushing over here versus going to your stomach to focus on digestion, and you have bad digestion. I was like, dang, okay,
You're like,
right,
that's
good
why I
reminder.
bloated today and didn't poop.
Yeah, I was like, good reminder, good reminder. Okay, all right. Like, I'm like, Elizabeth, I hear you, I see you. You're so full of knowledge. You're sharing it with everyone. It's made such a huge difference to me. You clearly have made a difference to a lot of other women. I'm very, very grateful, and I'm excited to, I'm working with you in sort of like a touch base capacity over the next few months leading up to my wedding, and I'm excited to continue that journey.
Well, I'm so honored, and I want to thank you for coming on here today. I have one last question for you. If anyone was in a similar place with you, got all these things going on, what would be your biggest advice for them?
Call you up. I mean, like,
I like that answer because I want
I
to
mean,
help.
yeah, man, I mean, I've sent your videos to people and I've just said, like, if I've always said to them, I'm like, look, I get it. It's an investment. It's scary. I don't know. Worst case scenario, what have you got to lose to get on a call with someone who may know more than you? I would say, like, if in a broader way, give yourself that, give yourself that care if you're going through all these things and you feel like that there's a huge struggle and that you're not finding the results you're looking for and you're feeling super super helpless. There really is a solution out there, like, I promise, because I've been navigating this for a long time, like, in a more severe way in the last 3 years, but my entire life has been an obsessive fitness nutrition journey. And I was always trying to find the answers, and the answers exist out there because I found my answers, or at least a lot of my answers, working with you, and it shows that there is a solution out there for everyone, no matter how hopeless it may seem.
Thank you so much for just number one, putting your trust into me because it's so hard to do that when you have all these health issues. Number two, thank you for sharing your story today because the reason that I do these is because I know so many women are out there struggling with all these different health issues and they're going to everyone and they have no answers. And your story, I know, is going to relate to somebody and live by what I live by, which is help one person every day. So thank you for taking your time and coming on here today. I know your time is so valuable and just sharing your story because I know that you are going to help more than one person with sharing your story today.
And thank you for being you.
Oh, I love you. Mwah.